Welcome to Challenge Accepted, the podcast where we challenge each other to a new movie or TV show every week. Today, we are talking Daredevil, the third episode. We continue to see Matt Murdock as a lawyer in this one, and we're seeing Fisk, Mayor Supreme over New York. What did you think about this episode?
Yeah, the hollow of his hands. I love that title. And then Heather Glenn drops it in later. I really liked this episode, but It is a slower episode. It's a lot more methodical. It's, based in the courtroom. I just reviewed a comic book about this and said, this is not my type of Daredevil comic that I really enjoy. Yeah. So it's funny that we got an episode about that, but I actually did really enjoy this one. And you get to see Matt Murdock absolutely destroying the courtroom. And I thought that was cool.
I think this is the one we're settling in, right? Kind of feels like we're all kind of getting good, comfortable in our seat now. This is the ride that we're in for. Of course, the premiere was very action-packed. There was a lot of secondary shooting, but this one feels like it was all planned. And I think this is the kind of longevity we could expect from a Matt Murdock series. I think we could see a new trial every week. Clearly, one thing that's happening out of this is we had the White Tiger, who was setting the stage for a war between vigilantes in New York and Fisk against them, and Matt Murdock being like a defender and stuff like that. I really think this is kind of setting up that relationship, how those two will never be on the same side.
Yeah. It was interesting how they did it, right? Because they also mentioned in, I think it was episode 2, like Fisk is also watching this. How are you going to approach that? And then we see like, yeah, he is. He doesn't have to, but he wants to keep watching over Matt Murdock. Like there's something about him. He's always going to keep an eye on him. And yeah, he very firmly plants his foot. Like, I don't care. I'm always going to kind of be against him. Because he didn't have to put himself in there, but the fact that he brings in BB Urich to do the interview to basically kind of shit all over Vigilante shows like, I'll do whatever it takes to get in the middle of what Matt wants to do.
I like how at the end we hear that he wants to bring in BB instead of like, she's like, oh, we have people at the New Yorker or the New York Times, whatever. Yeah. Like, no, bring in BB because that is savviness on like, that's not what people are actually paying attention to. They're paying attention to this kid with a TikTok kind of thing. And I think that kind of shows Fisk being above even the intelligence of politics, like he's a mob boss too, or whatever. He's like cunning. He's smart.
Totally. Right. And it plays into a real life narrative where nobody trusts big media anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing we always hear, like, oh, big media is all lying to you. Fake news, right? And it's like, oh my gosh. All right. Well, yeah. Fisk is realizing that from people and is going to use it. So what are you thinking?
Well, I'm just thinking, thanks, Uncle Ted. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. It's that kind of thing where it's just like, I got it. CNN's lying to us about Kingpin.
Right. Oh, man. Yeah, I know.
Too close to home.
I know. It's funny. You know what? That's honestly, yes. And that's what I appreciate about this episode.
Yeah.
It's something that Captain America Brave New World just got criticized for. Which was, this was a movie about a symbol for America that didn't say anything about politics. It didn't really say anything about race in our country. It like said nothing, right? Yeah. All we know is that Sam, was able to beat a Red Hulk with some vibranium wings and then sing him a lullaby at the end and talk him down. Yeah. And I really liked that movie a lot, but I agree. There could have been things that hit closer to home. I feel like this show is not shying away from that at all. It's really talking to us about what's going on, at least certain aspects of our real life. And, they're going for jugulars, whether people like it or not. And I honestly, I respect it. It's actually saying something about our court system, our judicial system.
Yeah. The climate around our justice. And I just want to quickly touch on Cap. Falcon and the Winter Soldier series, I think, did that. What people wanted out of Captain America, they got in that series. And I do agree that they should have pulled that forward as well. But looking into this one, we have the vigilantes now. And I posed this question on our threads. Now that we have Kingpin as the Mayor Fisk, it's setting up this war of vigilantes versus everybody else. What is it like for the other MCU participants in New York? What is Doctor Strange thinking about his new mayor? What is Spider-Man thinking about his new mayor? And how close is Vigilante to stopping? I mean, Spider-Man's a vigilante. Is Doctor Strange? How far do you go before you start to say all superheroes are outlawed? How many times in Spider-Man comics has he been shot at by cops? I mean, so many times. It's great part of the video games, really. And so I wonder if this is setting the stage for We know the X-Men's always hated by the government, but is it setting a stage
Mm,
where the people don't like superheroes anymore?
I think so. I think that's a really great question. And it seems like it's going that way, especially if Fisk can manipulate it into that, right?
Yeah.
I love this choice of Hector Ayala. I think the White Tiger was such a good choice. This guy, this actor, rest in peace, was so amazing in this role because he has so much pathos. Like you really just feel bad for him. He's crying in this episode and he's like, I was just trying to do the right thing. So much so that Matt kind of forces his hand, brings out the mask without telling Cherry, without telling McDuffie, without telling Hector himself. And he's like, dude, you just gave away my secret.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because Matt didn't tell him his secret, but just used it and really forces the hand, but in a way to show the people like he goes out every night, puts himself on the line for all of you. He puts his own life at risk and nobody thanks him. Nobody even knows it's him. Like you think this guy would go and just try to kill a cop? Like, of course he wouldn't. It's also nice to see in this situation that the justice is served in a way that did help out the innocent person, you know, like it could have easily went in this episode that was like, nope, guilty because all the cops hate him and the judge wants to side with the cops and it makes his life easier. So of course he would do it, but they didn't go that route. I dug that.
Yeah. To touch on the two, when Matt did that, I felt like there was a perception from Matt's angle where he's like, vigilantes are good people, which is something that's not shared by a lot of people, but obviously shared by him. We just all don't know. The audience doesn't know yet, or I guess people in the courtroom don't know it yet. But then when they're talking in that court in the jail cell afterwards, he brought up a good point. White Tiger brought up a good point. He's like, "This is who I am. I am the White Tiger." And I really felt like he was talking to Matt, and Matt was probably feeling that like, "Am I still Daredevil no matter what I'm doing?" And you know, I always harken things back to Batman. Forgive me, he's just such an icon. But that's the thing with Batman, right? Is he ever Bruce Wayne? Is he always Batman? Bruce Wayne's the mask, not Batman. And so I wonder if it's what Matt Murdock is dealing with right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what I took away from it.
Mm.
He was like saying the thing to Matt that Matt needed to hear.
Oh, great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Matt was like, shoot, can I really believe what I'm saying to him? You know, Matt's seemingly most of the time a pretty honest guy. When he's caught, he's the first person to be like, I know it sounds funny when he's caught because it sounds like he's lying. But I mean, as soon as he has the opportunity to present the truth, he does. He doesn't like carrying the weight of the lie. Right. Yeah. And so he's now, in a sense, kind of lying to Hector in that moment and saying, like, you can help people in other ways. You can put the mask down. Even though a couple of nights ago, he let the devil out because that's who he is. He can't help it. It just comes out of him. And then we also, which I was surprised about this, we get the scene with the police officer and him in the bathroom. Like he confronts him. That was gnarly. What did you think about it?
Well, I loved it because because Matt might have kind of exposed a little bit too much by whooping his ass. So I like how he's like, "Who's there?" You know, really playing up the whole like,
I'm blind.
Help me out. I'm so lost or something like that. Because it's like, you just handed him his ass a couple nights ago.
Right. So true. Yeah. I'm surprised that dude didn't die with how many bone crunching and everything. And two, to walk up to him in the bathroom and confront him by yourself, like bold move, dude. He just handled not only you, but also your partner or your new partner at that point too. That's a bold move. So that was, it was really crazy. But again, kind of going back, I just really loved that scene between him and Hector, just really getting to the core of like, who is Matt Murdock and is the Daredevil always there, even when he's not putting on the suit?
And Hector's White Tiger was a really good character to pull into this because while Hector is very cool, his daughter Ava is the more popular one. So
from the comics, totally, right. And shows.
Yeah, so Ava's basically they're setting up Ava to be a future young Avenger. God, I'm going to say Young Justice. What is it called? Is it Young Avengers?
Yeah, Young Avengers. Okay, yeah. Young Justice is a good show too, though.
It is. But I do like how we kind of already have that set up now too, and I can see maybe Daredevil being a slight mentor. I would rather Jessica Jones be a mentor to her. And especially since one of the things I loved that was so minimal is Matt Murdock just like, oh, he didn't even have his necklace that gives him ultimate power or extra strength, whatever. Not a single emotion or expression changed in that courtroom. They're all so familiar with superpowers at this point that they're like, yeah, duh, he's got a supernatural necklace that makes him stronger. Who cares? Like it was like,
right.
if this was the MCU, 10 years ago, it'd be like, oh, what? He has a magical necklace? Prove it. No, I was like, yeah, we got it. He's a superhero. That's so neat.
Yeah, it is. It's so true. Yeah, and we've just received it as an audience. Like we're like, yeah, totally on board with it because we've seen every type of which way you can get your powers now in the MCU, and it's like, okay, cool, why not? You're right. That was really cool. Because I do want to get more into the niece and his daughter, but it was like I was really surprised by the end. One also again the non-verdict or not guilty verdict. I thought that was just awesome. Yeah. The way he celebrates, you really feel relieved for him. Like, oh my gosh, they did it.
Every one of them read, I felt the relief with them. While you're saying that, it's a good point. As I'm watching, I was like, oh my God, he beat that one too. Oh my God, he beat that one too. Like I was actually thinking that this is not going to work out for him.
Right. Like you're like, one of these, he's going to get a guilty. Exactly. And they're like, not guilty, not guilty. You're like, whoa, it worked. Yeah. And it did seem like a gamble in terms of a strategy. Mm-hmm. And then also like bringing on all the people he helped as White Tiger. I thought that was really cool because we never get to hear from people in the MCU who've been saved. Yeah. Like the only one I can remember was in the first Avengers. There's like a waitress when Captain America.
Yep. I was picturing the waitress. Yeah.
Yeah. Because she's in Critical Role too, right?
She is. Yeah, she is. Yeah. And she's also in The Last
Johnson or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And The Last of Ellie. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So like she was the last person I could remember who was just a regular civilian that got saved. Right. And then you're like, thanks to the Avengers who helped us. And you're like, yeah, they are heroes. They not only just beat up bad guys, but like they save people. And I loved kind of getting reminded of that. Although we can juxtapose it to episode 2 when Fisk drives up to that pothole and was like, nope, you guys fill it. Right. Fill it now. And he's kind of a hero too. Like he's using his powers to get shit done and help people's lives. And I was, I don't know. That's just something that popped up in my head right now. But I like those moments.
Fisk is very good at PR. I mean, that's one of the things we saw like with that pothole thing. But then we'll bring in a BB. And I think that's one of the things with the results of this court case. I mean, he was voted innocent by his peers, by New Yorkers, 12 people sitting up there. So it's almost like a testament to Fisk, like we're going to side with the vigilante over the law. And I think for Fisk, that's, that's telling him like, oh shit, I might not win this. I might not win out this thing at the end. So he's going to ramp things up to take it seriously.
Like, yeah, he could see that as a way he's losing power.
Yeah. Like the winds are changing against him. If people like Matt Murdock can convince people, that's a problem.
Oh, that's such an interesting way to look at it. Because I was just looking at it like I'll do anything to mess up Matt's day, but you're right. That's a different way to look at it where it's like the police are extension of my power. If they don't win out, then I lose power. Oh, wow. That's a cool way to look at it. Yeah, I dig that.
And when Matt wins the day, he's seen as a hero for defending a vigilante. A vigilante's loose who's seen as a hero. Now walking the streets freely at that point. Everybody knows who's the White Tiger and he still wears the mask. And the news is reporting it as like a victorious thing. You're like, there's a cop that's dead and dang it, I was using them for power. Like it's definitely showing that all of a sudden Kingpin's taking a step back in power. And I love to think that now is when he's going to lean on his Kingpin aspect, not the Fisk aspect to gain it back. And he play a little bit dirtier,
Yeah. Which I think leads us to the last time we see Hector putting on the suit. We see the emblem or the medallion. He's walking the streets. He hears some noise and he walks. This part again shocked me. I had to feel like as soon as I saw the guy kind of lurking in the shadow, I was like, uh-oh. Yep. But he gets popped in the head right there. It was a intense way to end this episode. Also so sad. I was like, dude, we haven't seen this guy really do anything except for like a little video camera from a bodega. I was like, I want to see like white tigering, but we didn't get that.
But think about how more impactful it is that he was shot right there. On the story, I think that's more impactful than just having another guy with similar powers to Daredevil,
Completely agree. But do you think that it was Fisk that did it? And that's like instantly where my mind went. I was like, who did this? You think it's Fisk?
No, I think it's the cops. So we're getting the Punisher storyline and did some research, y'all. Made sure, because I was like, I know I read about this beforehand. So I was like, let's do some Googling. The Punisher, Volume 12, issue number 13, that was released in July 2019. This is from the 2018 run. The original creator of Daredevil, his name's Gary Conway. Not Daredevil, I'm sorry, Punisher, Gary Conway. He did not like how police forces, like 2015 and on, started using the Punisher symbol. As you know, as I know, so SoCal, there's a big problem with that. Like in the Santa Clarita area, there's a lot of cop cars that use that symbol. He didn't like that because like that's not what you guys should be looking at. You should be looking at Captain America's example. So in that comic book, Punisher is confronted by the cops. They see that it's Punisher and they say, "Oh man, I can't believe you're Punisher. I can't wait to tell the group about it. Let me get the photo." They start trying to do a selfie with him. Right. And he's like, "What group are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, most of the police department want to bury you, but there's some of us that see you as an inspiration." And then they point to a Punisher logo on their car, a decal. So he tears up, I think he breaks up their phone or tears up something that they had. Maybe he tears the decal off. And he says, here's a quote from Punisher. "We're not the same. You took an oath to uphold the law. You help people. I gave that up a long time ago." And then he says, "If you want a role model, look to Captain America, not to me." And that was basically a line. It wasn't written by Gary, but it was for Gary, the creator of Punisher, showing that like Punisher is not a cop. And if you think that they're the same, if you play like Punisher, you're not a cop. And I really like the idea that this vigilantism, which is what it's all about, this vigilantism isn't just the guys that are wearing masks on the streets. It's also rogue cops that think that they can take the law in their own hands. And I think that's the grander story that we're going to get here. That vigilant, that skull on it wasn't Punisher wearing that. I bet that was one of the cops. Not. So I really love that. That's a nod to Punisher number 13 from 2019. I'm going to write a whole article about it. I ended up looking up a lot of the police stations that use the skull. And since then, people have been fighting back and saying like, because they'll put it on the hood of their car saying like, take that off. That's not what you guys represent. That's first off, Frank Castle wouldn't want you to have that on your car, and you shouldn't want to be the Punisher. You know, so I'm going to write a whole article for our website, guys, but I did some digging on it. So I was a little bit late when you're asking getting on. Because I was wanting to check that out, man, because that was something else.
Man, I feel pretty impassioned by this, I will say. I saw Coy Jandrew, for anybody listening, legend. He's a fantastic comic book reviewer and movie reviewer, just an incredible speaker. And he put something out on his personal Instagram, YouTube, and all that, talking about what the Punisher symbol represents, right? And it doesn't mean to protect and serve, right? Like when we see that, it is about punishing somebody. And the way our court systems and our legal systems are set up is that you have a fair right to trial, judged by your peers or by a judge, and you are not judge, jury, and executioner, which is a funny call out that they use that in Marvel Rivals in a video game for Punisher. But police are not supposed to be that.
Exactly.
So anytime you take, so anytime you take that into your hands, you are doing something outside of the realm of what you're supposed to be doing. You are supposed to be taking care of people first and foremost, even people who you may not ideologically agree with, even people who you know are doing things that could hurt you or even hurt themselves. Like, you have taken an oath to stand above your personal feelings towards the other public service and put them first in order to protect them, to take care of them. And it's a tough role. Again, I'm not saying anything bad about cops. I think it's an impossible job in so many ways, but we need them. But also, like, there is a real thing with anybody. You can abuse your power and you can start looking at things in a skewed way that can actually damage the people you're supposed to be helping. And I really feel like it's a bad sign for me whenever I see a police officer that uses the Punisher symbol. It is not what you should be representing. Like that to me is just, it's a bad sign.
And frankly, it's one of those things like, it not only not just to kind of lighten the mood a little bit, but not only that, but it also hits that nerd rage in me because I'm like, I know you don't read Punisher comics, you son of a bitch. Like, you don't know who Frank Castle is. What happened to his wife, his kid? Do you know? Something like that. Like, it does. It's that part of me was like, have you been to a comic book shop to pick up that, or are you just going something that looks cool on you? So which is why I kind of had to write that comic, you know. It was, and then why they also, Marvel truly has tried to change the look of the Punisher symbol. The skull's different now and stuff like that to try to make distinct something, which is a shame if they have to do that, but even in Rivals it's different. It's just, it's been misused. It's a false flag that people are like representing, which I think is what we get at the end of this episode. The guy that shoots Hector at the end is wearing that Punisher symbol is more of a false flag. It's not, in fact, I can almost guarantee it's not Frank Castle, because what we've seen in the earlier trailers is when Matt finally finds him, he's got long hair. He's not dressed up. He looks like he's retired too. And it seems like he's been out of the game. So I think he
yeah, he's been in hiding, and it's going to be interesting to see them explore this concept because of everything. I mean, this show was done probably before this movement happened, before Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. But this is handling, corrupt cops and maybe police brutality and all those things. It's going to be interesting to see how the show does it. And I applaud them for taking several bold moves from episode 1, even into episode 3. Like, there's been something really bold that's happened in this show.
Like you said, it's a passion project for Marvel to try to clean this thing up, but also it's a real relevant story. Like when everybody loves Law and Order, we pull things from real stories. This is Daredevil pulling things from real stories. And we saw a lot of those Punisher tattoos and all these cops and stuff like that. That's basically a gang sign. And so, like it or not, it's a story they're going to tell, and I'm very much excited for it. Frank Castle, what would bring him out of retirement? Hey, you need to come and defend your name, your symbol for peace. This is it. This is going to be really good. So I'm looking forward to it. Plus, we have the Punisher special coming up too. That John Bernthal just said is like, it's going to be dark. It's going to be gritty. It's the story we wanted to tell about this character. So this is a really good introduction to bringing him back into the MCU.
Yeah. One thing I want to also see too is, before we go, because in the comics, the Punisher, Frank Castle, is a huge fan of Captain America. He loves what Captain America stands for. He's always that thing, like he wishes he could be like that, but his life has taken him in a different way. He's so much so that Frank kills somebody in the comics, Captain America gets mad, starts beating the shit out of him, and Frank won't fight back.
Yep.
He's like, I can't, like, you're my hero. I love what you stand for. I can't do anything. You're right. Like, I know I did something wrong. So I would like them to see John Bernthal's Punisher kind of reference his love for Captain America now that they can. That'd be just cool.
Yeah, that's a great point. And then I think in the original Civil War, if it was, he's meeting with Cap in the sewers because that's when Captain America's and he's like, but like, there's this thing where it's like, you stay here, I can get my hands dirty, you're not allowed to. Like, because he doesn't want Captain America to be tarnished. It's like, let me go do it. That's what my job is to be the one that gets his hands dirty. Like that, I really now am wanting to see this on screen. These two sitting next to each other.
Yeah. I know, that'd be great. So even let alone just referencing Christopher, I would think he would be a fan of Christopher Evans' Captain America. I don't even know in this timeline if Sam is Captain America yet or not, but like it would just be cool to him reference like Captain America is what you should be, like him to say it. Man, if he says it, in the show,
God, if he fucking, I'm sorry, jumping that pretty hard on that. If he says it in the actual episode, I will lose my mind. Too. Man.
I think that'll be clipped to death online, but rightfully so. We
called it here first, guys.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely did.
Yep. Oh my God. Yeah. So obviously we're going to talk about this a lot more in the next episode because clearly it's and there's issues of the comic books. Again, I have the article. I'm working on it already. I already started Googling a bunch of stuff. It'll be coming out. So it'll kind of fully break that down. Okay.
Yeah.
I think let's move into Mayor Fisk at this point. It looks like his wife is wanting to still embrace the old kingpin. Like, I think she fell in love with the crime boss. And now that he's sitting there like, oh, for bigger, better things, she's like, what's bigger than the mayor of New York? President. So is he shooting for the White House? What do you think?
Yeah, that's a great guess. Honestly, when he was like, I'm shooting for bigger things or I'm meant for bigger things, I was like, what? I was like, you just got into mayor. Like, what do you mean? So I didn't even think about it, but I love her dynamic with him. It's crazy to think she wasn't in the original draft either. There was somebody else because she's so good. And like, she's such a good counterweight to Kingpin.
She does such a great job. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to know, like, are you on board with the fact that this Adam guy that she keeps referencing, like, don't go after Adam, it's not his fault. Do you think she cheated on Fisk with Adam? Or like, that would
put him right over the edge, man. Yeah.
You think, right? But like, if she's saying like, you can't hurt him or whatever, like, what could he have done besides cheat with her that would make her keep saying like, don't do anything to Adam. Don't do anything to Adam.
I can't wait to see though, but yeah, I'm not sure. Because I think he's struggling to like one of the things about Kingpin is he has this like endless ambition, whatever it is. If he becomes president of America, he wants to be king of the world next. But he can't do it the legitimate way. While he's sitting there talking to her about how we need to give up this crime life, basically, he has bloody knuckles from something, and I don't necessarily remember what that's from. Do you remember the last time you punched somebody? Has that happened off screen?
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet as far as I've seen. So you're right.
Yeah.
And they keep showing it, and they keep showing Matt's knuckles. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great transition. Yeah. That was into the bathroom scene where he's cleaning his hand.
They've had some interesting transitions like in this show, like some really good and some like, ooh, I don't know if I like that. That made me feel weird. Yeah. But this one was good. You're right. You're right. So we were going to see some type of flashback before Fisk became mayor not too long ago of him like beating somebody down and how that played into him becoming mayor. So yeah, I don't know. I think Adam either cheated like with Vanessa or something, or he was the person in power and they didn't like how he was doing the job. So she came in when Fisk wasn't around anymore. And I don't know. Those are like my only two guesses.
What if it's not before he became mayor, but it's something he's got like in the basement of the mayor's basement hall or whatever? Like, what if he is currently like he needs that release? So he goes into a room where he's got like a chained up Punisher and he beats the shit out of him.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Like, what if there's something like that? Because
that would be crazy.
He's still Kingpin, you know?
Yeah. Man, that would be crazy. Yeah, he's got like a fight club underneath the ground, but like
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, man, that's good. I like that. That adds a sinister element because I don't know if I'm being too sympathetic on Kingpin, but for the first couple episodes, I've really felt like he believes he can make the city better. Like he really thinks like, I'm going to clean up the city. Like I'm going to be like LaGuardia. And he talks about LaGuardia's big legacy that he got all the crime out of New York City and built like a legitimate police force. And he built a safe city, a city that like businesses could prosper and everything. And to reference that, to even go back to, I think episode 2, where he's like, how old is this table? Do you think this table was old enough to where LaGuardia sat here? It was like an interesting way to go about his character. So I don't know. I really feel like in his mind, he's trying to do the best job he can for the city.
Yeah, I think interesting way to look at that. Yeah, because it reminds me of some other politicians that also idolize some other historical figures just because they're seen as like strongmen or badass or whatever, and he wants to be the same. So he might see LaGuardia as like this old, basically mob boss that ran New York. Is like, I idolize him like I do Al Capone, you know. So he's trying to do the same thing. You know?
Yeah. I'm sure he wasn't spotless. I don't know my history on LaGuardia. I just know the airport, you know. But from what I've seen, he really was this mayor who is credited for turning around the legacy of New York. That took New York from like gangs of New York to a prospering metropolis where immigrants could come in, set up new businesses, where Wall Street bloomed, where, you know, the Yankees came in and there was this huge, massive business. So like, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know enough about LaGuardia, but I do, you know, I've seen the similarities where it's like, it's not the job. It's the, like, I want to be this or I want to be this person that happen to have that job. So there's something there that I'm seeing from like current politics, that too. I don't know. One thing I know for sure is as soon as we see Fisk with that white suit back on, I'm celebrating. I'm tired of this little like cleaned up suit with the little American flag. Where's your white suit with a red rose in it? Where's it at, baby?
It's game on. I agree with you. When that suit's on, he's in his Daredevil costume. Like he's let his devil out.
Yes.
I can't wait, man. I really liked it. This episode, a lot slower, but I think it sets up a lot of like the heart of Matt Murdock, and it sets up all these other side things that are going on with Fisk beyond just the normal stresses of being mayor. Yeah. You know, it's like there's like personal vendettas that are getting worked into how he's supposed to be representing and do the best job he can for the city and for the people. It's cool. I like it.
I want to bring up one last thing. I'm trying to remember the guy's name or person's name. Sorry. Shoot.
Yeah.
They work for IGN. But they mentioned the fact that they referenced Officer Morales. Okay. And that could be a nod to Jefferson Morales, the father of Miles Morales.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. He was like Officer Wong, Officer McDuffie or whatever. And then McDuffie's a lawyer. But anyway, yeah. And then Morales. I know, that was sick. I was like, wait, it's a cool nod. Yeah. You know, we're like, okay, maybe in this universe, Miles isn't Spider-Man yet, but like his dad's out there on the police force.
Well, with the multiverse, his dad and Miles exist in this universe. They're just not Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
He's out there somewhere. So it would be cool if that was kind of the case. Like then after Secret Wars, it merges together and it all makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, like Jamie Foxx said in No Way Home, like there's got to be a Black Spider-Man somewhere out there in the multiverse. You know,
yeah, there is.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we love him. Oh, I cannot wait, man. I cannot wait for live action Miles Morales. Oh.
I know that's gonna be just seeing how good of a job they can do with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and making them all feel different. Then you throw in Miles and like we already got a good basis for that, not only from the comics but in the video games too.
Yeah,
dude, it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be amazing.
Miles from the video game, like I know that there's a lot of people who love the movie. I think Miles from the video game is perfect. I really enjoy playing as him and his character and stuff like that. And his relationship with his mom, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's such a good character. It's gonna be interesting. There's so much they can do with this too. Like White Tiger, as we've said in this episode, is gone. There's other legacy characters, but I love what they did with White Tiger because I don't need an Avengers level character to make it impactful for another hero. Like nobody really knew White Tiger before the show came out. Now I think there's going to be a lot of fans. There's going to be a lot of people who are like, how does the medallion work? Right.
Yeah.
But like, just bring in some other characters who've had a long history in comics and make them interesting, like you did for Hector Ayala. Like, I'm so on board with that.
While I was watching this too, midway through, I was like, this is what I wanted the She-Hulk series to be. Was a court case that had a superhero in it. Like, I know that she had to be a comedy, but I just essentially wanted a different superhero every week and her to defend them.
Me too.
And Ava, I think is going to come up here pretty soon. Ayala, but. I think, if we were to get like more superheroes popping up and Murdock has to defend them, hell yeah, that'd be great.
Great. I agree with you. It was, She-Hulk. I'm so conflicted, man. Like I wanted to laugh too, but I was expecting more to be in the courtroom for her to show her intelligence in the courtroom and her expertise there. And then, for us to have those heroes like the Retreat episode. So interesting still to this day. There was a lot I kind of liked in it. They threw in these like
it was such a curveball,
Yeah, totally. And C-list characters. And but just do that in a court where she's an expert. Right. I mean, okay, how about this? Do you think that there could possibly be a cameo by Tatiana Maslany by the end of the series?
Absolutely. I think there should be, frankly. If not here, then I think there needs to be another season of She-Hulk where we have Karen in there. Because she's in San Francisco with her now.
Let's go, dude. That's the team up I want to see. That'd be amazing. Yeah, definitely.
And one of the things I almost forgot, I was like trying to remember what it was. I almost forgot. Somebody on our threads mentioned that they could have replaced the detective that he's working with now, that's like part of his law firm, with Jessica Jones. And I wonder if that would have been too much power in Murdock's side. I think he needs to just like have, and plus this guy who was a cop, so he has kind of these cop connections, is useful. I think maybe Jessica would have been too much. Yeah, no, I like Cherry, actually. I was going to shout out him even because he's also helping a lot in this case. In this episode, he like faked out that one cop, allowing Nikki Torres to come. Also, Nikki Torres, what a dick, like flaking on it. You had one job to like just tell the truth and you couldn't do that. You freaking loser. Sorry, real quick. My immediate response to that is like, let him walk out that front door. He's not going to get one block away. He's going to get the White Tiger treatment, no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But I really like this Cherry actor. I think he's doing a great job. He's like so subtle. To me, he feels like a true New York cop. I mean, obviously, I don't know New York cops, but he just seems like somebody you'd see in Law and Order or whatever, right? Yeah. But I dig him. And I think Jessica Jones would be too on the nose. But we've heard a lot about Kristen Ritter coming back at some point. So if there's a special investigation, he needs extra support. Also, I don't know what happened after. I didn't watch Jessica Jones season 2, so I don't really know where she's at with her story. But finding an organic way for Matt to have to like reach back out to her would be super cool. Great.
Yeah. We'll see. There's so many places to go. This was definitely like a settling in episode. I think is the best way I could think of. Like, I think this is kind of the pace we can expect for the rest of them, really. I'm down for it. Yeah, I am too. Yeah, it's good. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We have a lot more coming out this week. It's actually a pretty busy week for us. We have Invincible finale coming up, Severance finale the week after. We also have our Game Changer episode coming out at the end of this week. So make sure you guys tune in and hit us up with those reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. All right, y'all. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Aloha.